Okay, so once again, I welcome you to the Transform Your Life e-course today. I hope it has been um, a great journey for you as well as it is for me. I was sharing with some of the people, who were in our group meetings that the more I talk about this, the more I share it, is also the more I see, the need to continue to grow in my own personal life. So why it might be impactful to you, I think it's also something that is, empowering both for me, for all of us, to anyone that is part of it. And I'm hoping that by the time we complete the two remaining sessions, of course, after this session, the last session is going to be next week. I'm hoping it's going to be something that will make a massive and meaningful impact in your life. I've been getting feedback from some of you, you know, based on how the conversation is helping you, to gain clarity on some of the things that you are doing. And we are very, very excited to hear that. Okay. So today I'm going to dive right into it. When we look at the transformation compass, you discover that um, we have taken care of purpose, we've taken care of leadership, we've taken care of relationship, and today we are going to be talking about systems. And I mentioned last week that it's important that you go through the process based on the way I'm presenting it. Okay. You start out with purpose. Why? Everything begins with purpose. When purpose is not known, abuse is inevitable. Everything, whether individuals, whether organization, they always start out with purpose. Okay. And then you develop your personal leadership, personal responsibility, taking charge of your life. Okay. And that is when you can be able to form relationships. So if you are not able to take care of yourself, if you are not able to heal, if you are not able to develop yourself, it will affect the quality relationships that you have in your life. And that is why it's important that you go through this process the way it is so that you can fully maximize the benefits. And then when you build your purpose, you develop your relationships, the next thing that is important in life is systems. Okay. And today we are going to, in the next 30 minutes, we are going to dive right into systems for you to understand how to improve your performance by developing life systems. Okay. Um, I know some of you, have been able to go through your workbook that was sent within the group. If you have not gone through it, I will encourage you to go through it. I've realized that people who go through it have more questions to ask, and it helps them more than people who don't go through it. So I want to encourage you to, go through that workbook, identify areas that are of concern to you. Because the whole essence of this teaching is that at the end of the day, I want you to be able to apply it to your own life. So if you're not able to apply it to your own life, it's going to be like a seed that is cast on a stony ground or by the wayside, but we want you to bear fruit in your life. Okay. You are changed by doing what you know, not just by knowing. That is why there's a famous, verse in the Bible that says, it is the doers of the word who are blessed, not the hearers only, you know. Um, so I want to encourage you, go through that workbook so that you can understand the flow. At the end of the session today, you're also going to get a workbook. By next week, you're also going to get a workbook. It's designed to help you maximize with full impact everything that we have been talking about. Today, I'm discussing with you on personal systems. I'm always tempted to say that this is the most important aspect of this conversation. Whether I'm talking about purpose, or I'm talking about leadership, or I'm talking about relationship, it's almost impossible to say that one aspect of this training program is the best. They are all the best. They are uniquely positioned in a way that they depend on each other. So if you do leadership and if you do purpose and you don't understand personal leadership, you will still not to grow. Okay. The goal is to help you to grow, improve your performance, and then to develop excellence. That is the goal of this compass. Okay. And how you do that is that you have to develop your purpose. If you understand your purpose, but there's no personal leadership, what happens is that the vision is still going to die. If you understand your purpose, you develop yourself, but you don't build the right relationships around you that will help to accomplish that goal and the vision that you set for yourself, you see that you will still not be able to do it. Now, if you have your purpose, you have developed yourself, you have built the right relationship, but you don't have systems that put all these things together in the place to make sure that you are getting the expected result, it will still not work. Okay. So when I'm talking about system, I'm discussing how to organize your life for consistent transformation. So I don't just want you to be transformed now. I don't just want you to be transformed tomorrow. I want your transformation to be consistent. I want it to have a flow in such a way that by the time you look at your life in the next 10 years, in the next 20 years, you can see consistent pattern of growth, consistent pattern of transformation. And that is what a system helps you to do. So in this session, things I'm going to cover is help define what personal systems are, why systems matter in your transformation journey, the power and purpose of personal systems, and the various types of personal systems that you could have. Those are things I hope to go through in this session. So, what are personal systems? What you don't manage, you will always misplace. Okay? What you don't manage, you will always misplace. No matter how powerful your vision is, it will die without a personal system. No matter how innovative your idea is, no matter how brilliant whatever you want to do is, it will die without a system. System is what makes the dream work. I told you guys that we can plug this in into any environment, whether it's your family, whether it is raising kids, whether it is, running a business. You need to know your purpose. You need to understand your personal leadership. You need to build the right relationship. And then, of course, you need to drive whatever you are trying to do using an effective system. Growth is sustained by a system. Look at your body. You have the nervous system, you have the digestive system. You see that your body is made up of different systems put together in order to sustain your growth, your development, your health, and your being able to manage and achieve results with your life. So you see that life is controlled by system. When God was creating the earth, the way he could sustain the transformation, the growth, the expansion that is going to happen on earth is to put a system behind it. Okay. So you see there are different seasons. The sun has its timing, the moon has its timing. Everything is created with a specific pattern of system of how they should operate. What happens when they die? What happens when they go? What happens in specific intervals? Everything, today we call it the ecosystem, is designed to sustain life, is designed to make sure that everything is in place, running the way it should run without any form of interference. So there's no interference. The sun doesn't jam the moon. Okay, the earth has never collided with another planet. Everything is in its place. Okay, so whether it's turning 24 hours around the sun, throughout the whole year, in all these years in our existence, everything has been functioning in their place, giving the best results. The goal of this conversation is to help you have a structured routine or habit, designed to help you live purposefully. So you have established your purpose, yes. You are starting to develop your personal leadership, you are starting to develop your relationship, but you have to put all these things in a system. If not, you are going to lose track. You are going to lose track of your vision, you are going to lose track of your direction, you are going to lose track of your accomplishment. In fact, this is the foundation of a self-disciplined life, putting yourself in a system. Okay, when you are supposed to do this, when you are supposed to start another session, another conversation. All those things is designed to help you to achieve the right result that you are supposed to achieve. Okay, so system is the invisible engine behind the visible results. That is what is responsible for your output. That is what is responsible for your outcome. That is what is responsible for your performance. Being able to organize yourself, organize your life around a system. Okay. So system is the strategy for sustainability. For anything to be sustained in your life, there has to be system. For anything to grow in your life, there has to be system. For anything to prosper in your life, there has to be system. So even if you start a business, there comes a time when that system, that business becomes a system that is no longer dependent on you. It can function outside of you and be able to give you the needed result. In fact, the more system you are able to develop, the more profit you are able to bring in. Highly profitable ventures, what is behind that profitability is an invisible system that many of us cannot see or even detect. Okay. So while we are having this conversation, what I want you to think about is what system is running your life? What system, what pattern is controlling your success? And you are sure that if you continue in that pattern or improving that pattern, you can, be sure of your results in the next 10 years, in the next 20 years, in the next amount of years, that you are going to live on earth. Okay. So James Clear said something, and I quote, you don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. So the mistake we make is that because we've discovered our purpose, because we have built ourselves, developed ourselves, because we've developed the right relationship, we think, okay, yes, we have arrived. No, your goal will not raise your life to a new level. What raises your life to a new level is your systems. Okay. So you see, for instance, when we started this program, how many people who joined? Now that we are in the fourth week, how many people are still here? It will still show you, why systems are difficult to build. Why systems? Because everybody is going to say, for instance, that something came up. I had an emergency. I'm supposed to do something. I was stuck somewhere. It is not the reason why you miss these appointments. The reason why you miss this appointment is because there's no system that is controlling it for you. Okay. I have responsibilities. I have activities. Okay. I've had like almost 3 hours trip today, inclusive of my work. But why do I keep showing up? Because there's a system. It's been planned. So anytime I'm trying to put any activity, I already know, okay, when it's coming to this time, I should be winding up because there's another program. You have to design it for every specific important thing in your life, whether it has to do with your business, whether it has to do with your family, whether it has to do with your personal life. You have to be able to design it, put yourself on task. That's the way I put it. You have to create specific tasks that is non-negotiable, that cannot be moved irrespective of whatever is happening. You know that that task is determined. You might think it's not possible, okay? But the moment you start doing it, you see that your life will be everything in your life starts falling in place. It's not that once in a while people will not disturb you, or events or emergencies will not come up. But when you start building your system, you see how everything in your life starts falling in place. Setting goals are important, but setting goals will not improve your life drastically the way you think, because your life will constantly fall to the level of your system. So, the beauty of the conversation we are having now is that since you already know that your life will fall to the level of your system, what I am now trying to do through this program is to help you to create your goals as your system. So that once your life is falling to the level of your system, the level of your system is still the level of your goals. So that way you are able to sustain your momentum. You are able to sustain your results. And year in, year out, you will constantly see yourself progressing. So progress is not as a result of chance. Progress is not as a result of um, just setting goals and believing that things are going to come. No, progress is as a result of creating quality systems that regulate your goal to ensure that you are accomplishing the results that you need to accomplish. Okay, so systems is equal to strategy for sustainability. Now, when we talk about the power and purpose of personal systems, what I would like to say is that structure your day, or your day will structure you. It's still connected to the last statement I made about your life falling to your system. Structure your day, or your day will structure you. Structure your activities, or your activities will structure you. Either way, you have to be able to decide, is it going to be determined by my goals, my activities of the day? Is it going to be determined by my goals, or is it going to be determined by different happenstances around my life? These are the things that you have to orchestrate yourself. So if you don't structure your day will structure you. So the idea is, remember when I said create a 7 year goal, a 7 year plan, and develop your mission and mission. So the goal is to take that plan, cascade it to the first year, then cascade your first year into several months, and then into several weeks, and then into several days. So the idea is that at the end of the day, your activities are regulated by your lifetime goal. That goal you want to build, you must bring it down into your daily activities. If not, whatever is your daily activities will end up becoming your life outcome. So this is what I'm trying to say. Create the vision that you want to do, develop it and break it down into the smallest level that you can bring into your daily activity. Okay? Until you bring it into your daily activity, that vision that you have written down will not come as a result of your outcome. What will come as a result of your outcome is those activities that you do. So what happens is that people create vision, but on their daily activity, you don't see a representation of that vision. So they will be wondering, why is my life moving in another direction? Check the activities you are engaged in on a daily basis. It will show you why your life is moving in that direction. Because you have not made the things that are supposed to be important to you important to you. And that is why your life is not moving in the expected direction. So systems create a rhythm, it creates focus, it creates discipline. So it helps you to know where you are heading to. Okay, it helps you to know the direction that you are advancing to. That is the purpose of the system. It helps you to create focus. It helps you to identify activities. It's not every call right now that I'm going to answer. It's not every message right now that I'm going to respond to. Why? There's a task I am on. I am teaching now, so my focus is on it. So other distractions will not be able to take me out of this course. Imagine trying to build your whole life that way. In the morning, you already know what you're supposed to do. You know the course you are supposed to take. You know the activities you are supposed to respond to. And you build it in that way, in a way that it becomes unshakable. It doesn't affect your focus. It doesn't affect your rhythm. It doesn't affect your discipline. Okay, they help automate your success and reduce decision fatigue. So most of us spend a lot of time trying to decide on what to do. When you understand your vision, understand your mission, plan it, weave it into your day, what happens is that those elements of trying to decide on what to do has already been taken care of. Okay, the decision fatigue will no longer happen to you because you already know what to do. Every day I wake up in the morning, I already know what to do. So I'm not trying to think about what will I do today. There's already a plan of my activities. Okay. If I'm supposed to write a book today, I already know. If I'm going to have a session, I already know. So all I'm looking forward to is the next activity of my day. The next activity of my day. Whether you have a plan or not, you always be constantly looking forward to the next activity of the day. What I'm asking you to do today is develop your life into a system in such a way that what you look forward to do tomorrow is in line with your 7 year plan, your 80 year plan, whatever you have developed your life to be, the outcome that you want to see. Let that orchestrate your life. Okay. So systems help you stay transformed. So why it's important to begin the process of transformation. Systems help you stay transformed. So when you look at all these things that we've been having as a conversation in the past few weeks, you integrate it into your daily activity. What happens is that as long as you keep at those daily activities, as long as you keep working on your vision one day at a time, as long as you keep putting in the effort, what is required for you to achieve success, what happens is that at the end of the day, that outcome, the vision you have written down, becomes what you see because you are constantly working on it. Okay. When we go to the workbook, I'll also make it more practical. So, what types of personal systems? There could be more. I just wrote this ones. So, you grow on purpose, not by accident. You grow on purpose, not by accident. You're not going to improve your spiritual life and spiritual awareness by accident. No, it's going to be on purpose. You're not going to be walking on the road one day and you meet a man and the man will tell you, okay, you are going to now grow today. It does not happen that way. Nobody prays for you to grow spiritually. Nobody empowers you to grow spiritually. There's nothing like that. It is as a result of deliberate effort that that is backed by a strong decision to align your life with your purpose. Okay. So, what are those different areas? You look at your spiritual system. So, in terms of your spiritual life, you have to ask yourself, what system is controlling my spiritual life? Okay. You struggle to pray because you don't have a system. You struggle to study the Bible because you don't have a system. You don't have any plan that you've designed to help you grow spiritually. There's no spiritual book you are planning to read. There's nothing you are trying to do to help yourself. So you just walk in every day, every month, every year, and you come out, there is no specific increase or growth as you have desired it because there is no plan. Okay. So you have to ask yourself, what spiritual system do I have in place? What personal development system do I have in place? The books I'm reading are already structured. I've already paid for it. I already know the book I'm going to study next month. I already know the book I'm going to study, throughout this whole year. Some have paid for it, some have not, but it's already written down in my plan that I'm supposed to go through this group. I'm supposed to go through this training. I'm supposed to go through these courses. It's already outlined. So you have to be intentional about your personal development. There are some courses I'm hoping to take to before the end of this year. I'm already planning my savings towards that. Okay. It's going to cost me XY amount. There are some organizations I want to be part of in terms of personal development. It's going to cost me XY amount. I'm already planning for it. I'm already putting it in place. I'm already thinking ahead to make sure that I'm able to take advantage of that opportunity because it's important for my personal development. So you need to have a personal development system. You need to have a financial system. Many of us don't have a financial system. Money comes into your life, it goes out. There's no system that regulates how you spend money. There's no system that prioritizes what you spend on. There's no system of savings. For many years, I never prioritized saving in my life, But the moment I prioritize it, I saw how powerful it is for you to miss opportunities simply because you don't have spare cash. Sometimes good ideas will just come. You are not able to jump into it because there's no spare cash. Business people will tell you cash is king. Do you have a financial system for your life? Is there a savings plan? Is there a plan for the things you want to do in the future, the things you want to, have in the future? Is there a plan for that? Okay. So if there is no plan for you, to get some of those things working in your life, then what is going to happen is that you are not going to see it. You're not going to see it established in your life. So what are your financial plan? What are those? Okay. So if you are looking at your financial plan, what are your financial plan? Okay. So um the next one is health and wellness systems. I mentioned to you guys, I think it was last week, how I put in my system that I would like to be doing exercise in terms of my health. And it will always come whenever I review my plan, it will always come. You said you are going to start an exercise, you are not doing anything about it. And by the time I entered March, I told myself, okay, I'm ready for it, plan for it, go. And then I started. Okay, so if there is no system that regulates, what are your daily routine and productivity systems? You must design it. You have to periodically review it. You go back, you look at your checklist. These are the things I want to achieve this week. These are the things I want to achieve this month. These are the things I want to see. If those things are not there, it's going to affect your productivity. Okay, so you could have a system for your career. You could have a system for um, your kids. You could have a system for your marriage. You can have a system for a relationship. You can have a system for your business. Whatever it is, you can have specific systems that guide different areas of your life. Okay. The next thing I wanted to talk to you about is how to build personal system. Okay. How do you build personal system? One is identify the area that lacks structure. So I've mentioned different things to you. Some of you might discover that you are doing well for your business. You might discover that you are doing well for your spiritual life. You might discover that in terms of your relationships, you have a structure. So it doesn't necessarily mean that all area of your life that there is no structure. Okay. So what I want you to do is to first of all look at different areas of your life and ask yourself which area lacks structure. Okay. Um, um, define what success looks like. So that is why you see I always talk about vision and mission. So you have to ask yourself, what am I planning to achieve? What do I want to gain? What does success look like? So when I identify it, the next thing is build a simple, repeatable rhythm. Okay. So if I identify, okay, in terms of my spiritual life, there is no structure. Okay. Then what would I want to see in terms of success as in my spiritual life? Then the next you ask yourself, okay, how do I build a simple, repeatable rhythm? Okay. So it could be praying every morning. It could be reading your Bible every night. Something that is repeatable. You build it as a rhythm, then track and review consistently. Track and review consistently. So whether it's once a week, whenever it is that you can be able to sit down to track and review what you are doing. And then of course, the last word is adjust when necessary. Okay. Adjust when necessary. Um, this is this is something that will help you to build your personal systems. Okay. Purpose plus pattern is equal to power. Purpose plus pattern equals to power. Okay. So you've understood what your purpose is, put it in a pattern, then it makes you a powerful person. But you understand your purpose, but there's no pattern. You do things when you like, you show up when you like, you respond to things when you like. At the end of the day, you discover that you are not going to be building power, because power is as a result of your pattern with your purpose. Okay. um the next one is warning signs of a broken personal system. Warning signs. What are the warning signs of a personal broken system? One of them is that you are constantly overwhelmed. Okay. You are constantly overwhelmed. There's this, there's that. Maybe sometimes you even forgot that we have a session. And maybe you just open your WhatsApp and you just say we are live. And you now ask somebody beside you, what's today? The person will say Tuesday. Say, we have event. Oh, whenever you find yourself overwhelmed, it tells you that you have a broken system. Your personal system, something is attacking it. No clear structure or result. There is no clear structure. There's no clear structure of the way you do things. So when it comes to your finances, there's no structure. When it comes to your relationship, there's no structure. When it comes to your life, there is no structure. Is to show you that a personal system is broken. Repeated cycles of stress or stagnation. If you are constantly seeing yourself in repeated cycles of stress and stagnation, it shows you that you're broken, that your personal system is broken. And then high intention, low execution. So you have lofty dreams. There are things you want to do. There are things you want to accomplish, but you constantly see yourself doing little. You have a problem with personal systems. So these are the things that will help you to identify. Do you really need this in your life? You grow on purpose, not by accident. So I'm repeating that you grow on purpose, not by accident. You're not going to wake up one day and discover that you are living your dream. No. You're going to identify a process that intentionally leads you to your dream. And that is when you can accomplish your results. So in connecting the dots, there's a scripture in the Bible where Jesus said, Luke chapter 4 verse 16, it says that, as was his custom, okay, he withdrew to pray as was his custom. So you see that even when Jesus was on earth, he was a son of God, okay, he embodied all the powers and essence of God. But the Bible said that he had his customs of spiritual development. In fact, when they wanted to catch him, they knew where he was supposed to be because he has a routine. He has a routine, and that routine is unbreakable. You know, one of the things that shocked me in the Bible was there was a day Jesus came out and Peter told him, I've forgotten that scripture, and Peter told him that the crowd has already gathered and they are waiting for him. And Jesus said, no, that they must leave from the other side, that they have something else to attend to. You know, looking at it now, it's like in the modern day that if you're a businessman or you're a pastor or you've been doing marketing and people are beginning to respond. But he is not even so concerned about the results the way he was concerned about his routine. Listen to this, I want to say something powerful. Most times, what distracts us from our routine is our results. The vision is getting clear. We are getting there. Things are becoming better. You know, those things will make you look like, okay, my routine is not necessary. So for instance, if you have 30 million naira in your account, okay, and your goal was to maybe hit 50 million naira, what happens is that you no longer wake up when you want to wake up. You start taking maybe extra rest seasons. Maybe you used to work on Sundays. I'm just giving an instance. And then you stop working on Sundays and just decide, okay, maybe I'll just use it and visit my friends and relax. Jesus never broke his pattern based on his results. He held tight to his pattern despite his results. And this becomes a great lesson for us to reflect on. What pattern is driving your life? And are you consistent with that pattern, irrespective of the results that happen around you? That is what we are trying to do here. Because the moment or if you look at this diagram, for instance, you are building on purpose. Oh, no. You are building on purpose. Okay. And then from purpose is leadership. From leadership is relationship. From relationship is systems. From systems is outcome. So the moment you say, okay, I have purpose, I have leadership, I have relationship. Oh, I have some systems. I'm getting outcome. The idea is that this process has to continue to go on. This process has to continue to go on. You have to constantly look at your purpose, ask yourself, am I moving in the right direction? You have to look at leadership. Am I growing the way I need to grow? Am I continuously working on my relationship? Am I growing my relationship? Am I building my capacity to attract more relationship? How is my system? Is my system building? As long as you maintain this cycle, you will constantly live an excellent life, which is the goal of this conversation. You remember I said, start right, stay right, then become preeminent. Start right. How do you start right? Discover your purpose and develop your personal leadership. How do you stay right? Your relationship and your systems. Then how do you become preeminent? Repeat the process. Constantly repeat the process. So in the final reflections before I go into the workbook, what I would like you to do is to ask yourself, which area of your life needs a system the most? Which area of your life needs a system the most? Okay. Which area of your life needs a system the most? What's one system you will start building this week? If you are to build a system this week, what is one system you are going to start building this week? And then the next one is, who can help you stay accountable? And let me also emphasize that that is the reason why we are designing this Transformers, program the way we have done it. Okay. The weekly conversations is to help you be in a system that keeps you accountable. Sometimes we just feel that, yes, I know what I'm doing. I don't need an accountable system. We give you workbook to fill. You say, don't worry, I've seen it. I know what is inside it. Sometimes in your mind, you just feel that these things are too simple, or these things are too careless, or possibly you might not need it. Oh, it's fine, I understand it. But when you watch your life in the long run, you see why these things are there. Nobody amounts to any level of success without an accountable relationship without an accountable environment that helps them to become what they need to be. Okay. So I will just dive straight into the workbook. Okay. So let me stop sharing this one. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Can you guys see the workbook? Anyone?
Yes, sir. I
Can
can
I
see
get a
it, sir.
response if you can see? You can just
Yes.
Yes, sir, I can see
up
it.
if you can see the screen, the workbook that I'm sharing. Okay. Okay. So um here we are talking about personal systems. They are the invisible structure behind visible results. So without systems, motivation fades and transformation breaks down. In this session, we will build systems that help you live intentionally and consistently in alignment with your purpose. So you see, the goal of the system is that it needs to be intentional and it needs to align with your purpose. So whatever is the end game, whatever is the end goal, you cascade it you cascade it to a daily process that as long as you are working on that daily process, it leads you to the final result. Okay. So in understanding systems, the first thing I want you to do is what systems currently govern your life. Okay, I think I've mentioned that, but here is kind of you making a list of it. What systems currently, what areas of your life do you think you have noticed that there are systems or routines or patterns or habits? Okay, are they helping or hindering your growth? Okay, we can have different kinds of systems. We can have a system around friends. When we visit friends, what we do with them. So identify what routines, patterns, and habits, and ask yourself, are they helping or are they hindering your growth? Okay. Describe a time when you were most productive. What systems were in place? So this is to help you to kind of reflect, you know, look into your life and reflect and ask yourself, okay, at this point in my life, at this stage in my life, I was very productive. Was there a system that was put in place to help you accomplish that? Okay. Um, Key areas where systems matter. I said below are 5 personal systems that need to be intentionally developed. So in personal system, for instance, I give you some checklists: daily time with God, weekly reflection, consistent prayer and worship, and then personal retreats or fasting days. Okay, this could be something that you are doing in terms as a routine to help you in your spiritual life. What spiritual habits do you struggle to maintain and why? These are the things you need to sit and reflect on. Write down your ideal spiritual morning routine. Whatever you feel should be ideal for you, write it down. At the end of the day, is to help you commit and be intentional about something in your life. In terms of personal development, weekly reading or study, podcast or teaching intake, skill building, reflection or application time. Okay. What is one area where you want to grow in this quarter? Okay, you can ask yourself, create a simple growth plan for the next 30 days. Okay, in the next 30 days, this is what I want to do. This is one key skill I want to have. This is one key area I want to develop. Okay. Um, in terms of your financial system, do you have a budget plan? Do you do monthly financial review? Do you have a giving or sowing system, depending on how you understand it? Then do you have savings or investment structure? Okay. So what structure have you identified in your life and what are you doing with it? So how do you currently manage your finances? Can you reflect over it? Just think about it. What's one system you can put in place immediately to help your area of finances? What is one thing that you can do in terms of your finances to help you? So write out a simple monthly budget: income, giving, saving, spending. How much is coming in? How much do you want to save? How much do you want to give out? Just have some form of structure around your life. Remember, Without structure, you cannot sustain transformation. Okay. In terms of health and wellness system, do you have an exercise schedule? Do you have a sleep tracker? Do you have emotional check-in? Do you have any kind of nutritional plan? Okay. Is there anything that you have put in terms of your health? There has to be a structure. What health habits do you need to reintroduce? Maybe you had something, you've lost it. Okay. So set a 3-day micro health goal. It could be to walk for 15 minutes. It could be to sleep by 10 p.m. It could be to eat fruit daily. So whatever it is for you is to help you plan the area of your health. Then daily routine and productivity checklist. What are your morning routines? What are your night routines? What are your weekly planning or review meeting? Okay, time blocking or calendar system. What have you designed? So the idea is that your day should have some kinds of routine, some kind of time blocking, to it that helps you, regulate the activities of your day. What time of the day do you waste the most time and why? Okay, what time of the day do you waste the most time and why? Design the ideal weekday from 5 a.m. to 10 p.m. Use time blocks to plan activities and align with your goals. Okay, I gave some tables down that can also help you do that. So, for instance, in system evaluation charts, you look at your spiritual life, your personal development, finances, wellness, daily productivity, and then rate this. Okay, so rating here in terms of 1 to 5, your spiritual life, do you have a structure? Or the kind of structure you have in place? If you are to rate it, is it going to be 1? Is it going to be 5? Is it going to be 4? However you want to rate it. In terms of personal development, what structure do you have in place? Your finances, what structure do you have in place? Your wellness and daily productivity. Then what actions do you need to put in place? You can now, put it here. Okay. So weekly actions. So for instance, I wrote core habits here. This is Monday, Tuesday, and then you can put time. You can put time. I just allowed it so that you can have flexibility. And it must not necessarily be the way I've put it. Okay. So you could identify there are things that are core habits for you. I call it core habits. So what I mean by core habits is there are things you must do daily to help you in the direction of where you are heading to. There are certain things you have identified that you need to do daily. Okay, so I need to pray every day. I need to read my Bible every day. I need to read a book every day. I need to write or meditate. Create time where you just sit and write and meditate. I need to listen to a message. You need to walk. Okay, you have friends you need to check in or you need to call or associates or mentors or people who are you need to exercise, you need to have fun. Okay, and then you need to review your vision. There are core aspects of your day. This is just a guide. Okay, it means you could add more. It also means that you can clean. Okay, so it's a guide to help you know, okay, that from Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday to Sunday, there are core activities of my life. There are core activities that I need to put in place in order to consistently move towards my vision. So, for instance, when I say read a book, I don't just read any kind of book. I'm reading a book that is supporting the goal that I am targeting. When I say work, I'm not just talking about any kind of work. I'm looking at the kind of work that is geared towards helping me accomplish my visions and my dream. So when you talk about association, it's the right people, the kind rights of association. So when you look at every day, the kind of people you associate with, how are they helping you in accomplishing your goal and becoming who you want to be in life? Okay. In terms of your work, in terms of the messages you listen to. I don't just go to YouTube or listen to any kind of speaker. I listen based on where I'm heading to, and the things I need to feed my soul with. Okay. And then have fun. Whatever having fun is for you, you have to create time to have fun. Okay. What I've even done is that most times I try to find what builds me as fun. So you can even engage in some kind of a learning experience that can be fun for you, but at the same time is building you. Then create time to constantly review your vision. Okay. So when you enter a week, for instance, this is supposed to be like a weekly actions that I want you to reflect on. What are the core appointments you need to make? What is your overall focus for the week? So anytime you enter a week, always ask yourself, what is the overall focus of this week? What is my takeaway out of this week? So you sit down and ask yourself, okay, I need to do this. I need to make this appointment. I need to talk to this person. I need to put this in place. So every week should have like a weekly focus. Every day should have a daily focus. All these things must be aligned to your purpose. And you will see the idea is to force yourself to move in the direction you want to move. Somebody might feel, oh, but this is too much work. Because if you are not intentional, then life will just plan for you. So the idea is that you want to make sure that you are moving towards the direction so you want success in the next 5 years. You want to be successful. Maybe you are depressed, you are discouraged, you don't like what is going on in your life. Okay. But why things are not going on the way you want it to be is that you are not forcing yourself to be on track. That's the goal of all these things I'm giving you, to force yourself to be on track. So you establish a purpose for your life. You start building yourself in line with that purpose. You start building relationship in line with that purpose. And then you create a system to hold all these things together so that you can be moving in that direction. I don't want you to live the next 5 years in regret. I don't want you to come after 10 years. You now sit back and you are saying, what did I actually achieve? Why is my life moving this? Why don't I have this? Why am I not married? Why am this one? Why? This is what I'm trying to help you prevent. If you don't live intentionally, you are going to live in regrets. Let me say it again. If you don't live intentionally, you are going to live in regrets. Intentional people makes the most use of their life, makes the most use of their time, makes the most use of their resources, and they are able to move towards the direction they want to go in life. Okay? So nugget is plan your week in line with your monthly goals in line with your yearly goals in line with your 7 year plan, and your 7 year plan in line with your purpose and your life mission. Okay. Take time off on Sundays. Recommended. Usually I do Sundays to plan your week. Also, determine which area will focus on concerning your core habits. Example, books you want to read for the week, messages you want to listen to, people you would like to associate with, those you would like to call, people you would like to maybe encourage. Okay. The passage of the Bible you would like to read, or special areas you want to pray about. Be intentional that, okay, this week, for instance, I feel sometimes even we pray too much, or sometimes we don't know what to pray because we are not intentional about it. You can tell yourself, okay, this week I don't like the way things are going in my business. So by the time I enter this week, I'm just going to take out time to talk to God concerning my business. Maybe next week you can just take out time to talk to God concerning your personal development. I think we speak too many things more too often in prayer that we even lose track of what answer is supposed to come to us. But when you plan intentionally, you can enter this particular week. Sometimes that is how I brood over things in my heart. There are things as a burden. It can be maybe my personal life. It can be my children. It becomes a burden in my heart. Throughout that week, that's what I'm praying about. That's what I'm speaking to God about. That's what I'm trying to find out what I can do something about. It could be your business, it could be your career, it could be a book you are writing, whatever it is. If you are not intentional about what you want to do, what happens is that you will not be able to move towards that direction. And then, of course, watch your performance in each core habit and core actions. Make your core habits and core actions to be in harmony. For instance, if you are focusing on making your business for the week, read a book on wealth as part of your core habits. Okay, so the idea is to synchronize it. For instance, if this week maybe you want to talk to God on your personal life, you can read a book about personal development. Or you can be reading books on business when you are trying to talk to God about business. You are reading book about business. And then that week, schedule to go and meet a successful business guy that you know to ask him some questions. So you see, you are praying about business. You are reading book about business. You want to go and talk to an association or someone who knows that area of business to get idea or to get suggestions from them. You are reviewing your business that week. So it helps you to live a focused, intentional life. And then, of course, join a Transformers meeting. The goal of our weekly meeting after this session, the goal of that meeting is that whatever plan that you've written down, whatever you have put in place, we want to now hold each other accountable to now make sure that we are moving towards our dream. Okay. So I commit to designing and maintaining personal systems that support my spiritual, personal and practical growth. I will live intentionally and build rhythms that honor God and my purpose. You write the dates and then you jump right into it. Okay. I intentionally try to achieve this on time, so that we will not take so much time like we did last week. And then maybe if there is one or two or quick questions that anyone would like to ask, I will take it. Thank you guys for making out time. I hope it's worth it. I hope it's worth your time. I hope it's going to help you to live your truest dream, live your truest potential, and become all you want to be. Thank you so much for tuning in today, and I'm going to see you guys next week. Thank you and God bless.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
I'm so talking.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Victoria, your hand is raised. Are you trying to ask a question or what? Or was it a mistake?
Yes, yes, I told a mistake. Sorry.
Okay, you don't have any question to ask. Yakini, your hand is up. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. Sir, my question was on the previous workbook in the section where we were to rate ourselves